welcome to the gunshine state. And I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point that Florida really is relaxed with their gun laws. And maybe relaxed isn't the best terminology to use, but Florida doesn't necessarily have the strictest of gun laws. As you may be aware, you no longer need a concealed permit to carry a concealed weapon in Florida. As a matter of fact, even after that, the Supreme Court decided, hey, actually, you don't even have to conceal that weapon. You don't have to conceal that firearm. Florida, at this point, pretty wide open, and you can open carry your gun. Tell you what, I've never seen anybody out and about open carrying. Now it's legal. Prior to that, you had to be going to and from hunting and fishing, right? That was really the carve out for it, and not really sure anybody was going to prove that. But so nothing's really changed when it comes to that. But what's I think more important is, how do the gun laws impact home defense? Because at the end of the day, home is your castle. Home is where you should be able to feel the most safe. So how does Florida really deal with these gun laws and having your home in Florida and being able to protect yourself? And look, we're not necessarily prone to hurricanes, but we've had hurricanes, and I think we've seen in other places where there's been looting and mass chaos after hurricanes. And we had one here recently, a couple years ago now at this point, that we didn't see that, right? We didn't see that mass chaos. And it maybe comes down to that there's a lot of people in Florida that got guns, right? You don't mess with somebody that's got a gun. But we digress. Let's get right back into how does that all work with when we talk about home defense, right? Really big important thing is the state of Florida has stand your ground, right? So what that means is you don't have to retreat. So if somebody is attacking you, or not necessarily attacking you, but maybe attacking your house, trying to break into your house, you're legally allowed to be in your house, right? You can defend yourself and others. If you are in fear for yourself or in fear for the safety of others, you can defend yourself, and you can use up to deadly force to do that. Now, you can't just jump to deadly force and shooting somebody, whether you shoot them in the foot, shoot them in the knee, shoot them in the chest or the head, it is still deadly force, okay? There is no just shooting to maim or shooting to stop them, right? It's always deadly force, just is, okay? So that's the really big important thing to understand, that when you're at that level, you're at deadly force, okay? If somebody is just trying to fight you, maybe you're outside of your house, somebody's just trying to fight you and they don't have a weapon, you can't just turn around and shoot them, right? You'd have to do a really good job of articulating why. But let's get back to the house, and let's get back to how the gun laws impact that. So you can stand your ground in your house, meaning that you don't have to retreat from somebody who breaks into your house and is trying to do you and your family harm. You are allowed to defend it. Now, here's where that key difference is with somebody that is, you're out and you're in a fist fight with, that doesn't have a weapon, and being in your house. That person who's breaking into your house, it's a home invasion. It's a home invasion robbery, okay, because you're in there. If you're not in the house, it's a burglary, right? Two very different things. Forcible felony, okay? Home invasion is a forcible felony. You can use deadly force. Someone kicks your door in, breaks your window, climbs through your home, you can use deadly force. Now, how this really differs is you can't use deadly force to protect just property, okay? Here's what I mean by that. Let's say you were afraid that someone's gonna break into your house while you're out on vacation. And so you set up maybe a shotgun, some kind of gun, we'll just go with shotgun, aimed at your front door. And it's set up as a booby trap. If someone kicks it, that's the only way it's gonna go off. Someone kicks that door in and tries to go in, that gun goes off, right? Can't do that. You can't use deadly force to protect property. You're gonna go to jail, not the bad guy. The bad guy probably gonna go to jail too if you don't kill him with a shotgun, right? But you're gonna go to jail also because you can't use deadly force to protect property. But if you're in the house, forcible felony, it's a violent felony, okay? Someone's just broken in and you don't know why they're there, what harm they intend to cause, anything else. So that's where you get to defend yourself and you get to defend your family. Now, let's go past the legal side of it and let's look at what is good for self-defense, right? There are a lot of people out there, hey, I have an AR-15 and I use that for home defense. You might be a fool, okay? AR-15s, and I'm not against them, right? So let's not get the two parts of the conversation confused, okay? I'm not saying that nobody should have AR-15s, right? I may or may not have one myself, okay? Was issued one when I was at the sheriff's office. Very familiar with them. Very good tool. Not a good tool for home defense. Why? Those bullets travel very fast, super high velocity. It's a 223 is about the size of a 22, and then you have a 5.56 round, okay, a little bit bigger. But they travel very fast. When a round travels very fast, what that means is it penetrates more, okay? Think about it like this. You shoot bad guy who's in your house, great. But because of the velocity of a 223 round out of an AR-15, that bullet goes through him, right? Goes through bad guy, through a wall. Who else is in your house? Your family members. So you don't want to subject your family members to also being shot while you're shooting the bad guy. That's why one of the reasons why AR-15s are sometimes real bad for home defense, or most times, in my opinion, completely bad for home defense. Also, it's a long gun, right? And so you turn a corner in the house, now all of a sudden you might be at a disadvantage. Real easy for somebody to grab it because it's out there in front of you, right? There are some tactical disadvantages to a close quarters combat situation and having an AR-15, all right? Handguns can be really good for home defense, right? You want to stick with, and look, this is my opinion. I know there's gun gurus out there that are going to go, yeah, you know what, you could use a 22 round and you hit them in the right spot, that's good enough. Yeah, but under a high stress situation is good enough where you want to be, right? Yeah, if you shoot somebody between the eyes with a 22, yeah, it's going to do the same as a 40 or 45, pretty much anywhere in the body, right? Bad for the bad guy type of thing. But under stress, under pressure, probably moving some. Are you going to hit somebody right in between the eyes? Probably not, okay? So what you want to keep in mind is you kind of want the stopping power, because you might hit them in the chest, you might hit them in the stomach, you might hit them in the leg. You want something that is going to take them down, but also not go through walls, okay? So when we're talking about handguns are a good alternative, right? Good gun to use for it. 40s and 45s, right? Big rounds, slow rounds, stopping power. Put them on their butt, okay? So real good for home defense from that perspective. My personal favorite, shotguns, okay? Shotguns are really good for home defense, and it is what I would recommend anybody doing that, because at the end of the day, do you really want to have to shoot somebody? And great thing with a shotgun is when you pump it, people generally know what that sound is. And it turns out bad guys don't like to hear that sound, so they tend to leave, right? And it avoids the situation entirely. Yes, you probably have to fix whatever they kicked in to get in, but at the end of the day, right? That's my personal choice. And you're legally, in Florida at least, allowed to have all of those, okay? Do what you need to do. Also, keep the guns safe, right? And by safe, actually put them in a safe, especially if you have kids. If you have kids, do not leave your guns out, okay? Yeah, it can be illegal, right? But more importantly, somebody could get seriously hurt. Could be your kids, and look, at the end of the day, maybe your kids are super well trained on them, but your kids have friends come over that maybe their parents don't have guns, right? Protect all of those kids. There's too many kids that get shot. So even in a home defense setup and scenario, use trigger locks. Maybe don't load your shotgun. Keep it in a safe. There's plenty of options out there. Make sure you're looking into all those things, all right? But remember, if you're not there, you cannot protect your property with deadly force. If you're in the house, deadly force is all yours. Stay legal, stay safe,